Good evening. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Good evening, my dear students. My name is Anoop Vashishtha and you are on Unacademy NEET Elixir batch. So, how are you? Today is our second class and yesterday we had a class of 11th. That is some basic concepts of chemistry. Today we are having the class of solutions. And that's the first chapter of your new NCERT book. So, we are talking about the new NCERT book. We are going to do the other chapters as well, but we are going to do these chapters first. So, how are you? Have you done the like, subscribe, share and comment? So, that's what you are going to do. So, here we are on the live chat. You can ask me anything on the live chat and I am going to answer your questions. I am perfectly fine. Nikita, Piyush, Prerna, Aditya, Nikita, Namrata, Tirthraj. So, we are all got the students here. So, let's begin over with this chapter. And before that we begin over with this chapter, let's have the introduction about me. My name is Anoop Vashishtha. I am an MSc in chemistry from University of Delhi. 26 plus years teaching experience. I took my first IIT batch in 1997. I have taught more than, I don't know how many students, but this is an approximate figure, around 10 lakh students and teachers. And here we have the chapter which we know as the chapter called solutions. So let's begin over with the chapter called solutions. So are we ready with it? Are we ready with it? I am perfectly fine, Aditya. So let's begin over with the topic called solutions. This is a chapter, it's a very important chapter, it's a very easy chapter as well. So let's begin over with what is the meaning of solutions. Now when we talk about the chapter called solutions, solution is defined as a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances having uniform properties throughout. Now just remember what is the meaning of homogeneous. I hope you are able to understand it. Yes, we have already started the chapter, already session. Mole concept we have done it yesterday. We are going to do alternate. We are going to do one session of 11th, one session of 12th, and we are going to have certain marathon sessions. I know we are already quite late. This is July and July, August, September, October, November, December. By that time you have to finish off your courses, 11th as well as 12th. So we are going to have the marathon classes as well. So all these classes would be held. Great. सर क्या अब आप ऐसे ही फ्री में क्लास कराएंगे पहले जैसे गूगल मीट पर नहीं कराएंगे? We are going to have all kind of classes. We are going to have every kind of classes. Don't worry about it. So these classes would be held. Okay. Sir, you are a ranker, so why did you not join AIMS? Who said I am a ranker? Who has this kind of a confusion that I am a ranker? I am a MSc. I am an MSc from University of Delhi and I am an average student. I did appear for the AIMS examination, but I am such kind of a person who didn't even go to have a look at the result. I was so sure. Okay. I would be taking the questions. Today also we are going to have the questions. Please type everything before. What exactly I need to type before? So, like, subscribe, share and comment. Now, let's talk about what exactly is the meaning of the word solution. Solution is defined as a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances having a uniform property throughout. This is one phase. One phase is we are not able to distinguish between the components. That is what we have as a phase. This is going to constitute a single phase. The substances which are making up the solution are termed as its components. So we have the components of the solution. Yep. This is the color. Good color it is. So here we have the various components of the solution. Anything you want to ask? Okay, so let's talk about the other things. So this is what we have as a homogeneous mixture. This is what we have as a single phase that is containing more than one component dispersed on a molecular scale. That is, the components of a solution, they have a size between 1 to 10 angstrom. That is, they are less than 1 nanometer in the size. That is why these components are not visible. No, we are not going to complete the whole chapter today because I don't want to shoot you here. We are going to complete certain chapters in one shot, but those are going to be the chapters which are not exactly in CBSE, but they are only in the NEET examination. So the people who are preparing for only the 12th classes, they need not attend those chapters. Wow. Kedered 12 says that I studied from your old lectures and got 95 marks in chemistry in board 2023. That's great. I would really appreciate if you could send me your mark sheet so that I would be able to show it to the others that yes, you can score 95 marks in chemistry just from studying with YouTube. Okay, should I take the new one? You can, that's not a problem. What would be the duration? 1 hour. So this is what we have as a homogeneous mixture, that is a single phase. So this is what we have as a solution. We can put a sugar, we can put salt, we can just shake it well, and we can have a clear solution. The solutions are absolutely clear. And here we have the solute, we have the solvent, and we have a solution. Now this solute could be something colored. It could be anhydrous copper sulfate, which could be giving us a color. Anhydrous, it might be colorless or white, but hydrated, it would be colored. So that is what we have as a solution. Now, once we have talked about the solution, there are so many classifications of what a solution is. The solution in which relatively a small amount of solute is present, that is, one of the components is much lower as compared to another component, is termed as a dilute solution. Is this clear? Hello Sarthak, how are you? So this is what we have as a dilute solution. While a solution having a relatively large amount of solute is termed as a concentrated solution. Concentrated solution means the solute is more, solvent is less. A concentrated solution has a lower concentration of the solvent. So that's what we have as the solute and the solvent. That is what we have as a concentrated and dilute. Please don't confuse concentrated with saturated. Saturated is altogether a different concept, and do not confuse with dilute with unsaturated. Saturated is a different concept, concentrated is a different concept, unsaturated is different, dilute is different. We can have a solution which is saturated but dilute. We can have a solution which is unsaturated but concentrated. So please don't confuse these terms. Is this clear? So that's what we have as saturated, concentrated, dilute solutions. Now, having talked about that, this is what we have as a definition of saturated. A solution which contains the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent at a particular temperature. Please remember, the saturation has a lot of things to do with the temperature. If we are able to change the temperature, then in that case a saturated solution might become unsaturated, and an unsaturated solution can become saturated by just changing the temperature. Is this clear? Saturated, I have just written the definition of saturated. Saturated solution is the one which cannot dissolve any more of the solute while keeping the temperature constant. So that is what we term as a saturated solution. Pravit Srivastava, if you have a problem in 11th, then in that case, what you can do is you can just attend all the classes of 11th and we can have this 11th sessions. Is it clear? So if you are going to be regular with us, then in that case, all the problems, all the confusions and all the requirements would be satisfied and you will be able to clear your NEET examination perfectly. Is it clear? Just like, subscribe, share and comment, and please share this session with all your friends so that they also are able to benefit it. I hope you are able to understand the English that I am speaking. That is not creating any problems with you. Okay. Now, as far as solute and solvent word is concerned, you need to understand that solute and solvent, they do not at all differ from each other as far as a chemical composition is concerned. The classification of the solute and solvent is perfectly arbitrary. Arbitrary means it is just taken for the convenience and convention. We consider this particular as a solvent because it is easier for us to consider it as a solvent. If it is something else, then in that case we can consider something else as a solvent if it is convenient to us. So that is what we call as arbitrary, not a specific logic or a reason. So that's what we have as the arbitrary. So distinction between the solvent and solute is an arbitrary one, considered one, approximated, or whatever you wish to term. If it is convenient, the constituent present in relatively small amount may be chosen as the solvent. So many a times people say that, sir, whichever substance is in the larger amount, we are going to consider it as a solvent. It's not necessarily true. Many a times it so happens that substance which is in lesser amount is considered as a solvent. So it is just for the sake of convenience. Is there anybody who has not liked as yet? If you have not liked, just like it right now. Clear? So solute and solvent do not have any chemical differences. You cannot just see a substance and say that this is going to be a solvent or this is going to be a solute. You have to think over what is more appropriate. It is convention and convenience which define or distinguish between the solute and solvent. Now let's have the few definition of the solute and solvent. If we find that the solute and the solvent, the components are in different phases. Now what is the meaning of different phases? Let us say we have one component as a gas and we have another component as a liquid. Now when we mix a gas and a liquid, it is not a compulsion that the mixture which we attain is going to be a gas or a liquid. It could be a gas, it could be a liquid. But if gas plus liquid gives us a gas, then gas becomes the solvent and liquid becomes the solute. On the other hand, if the result is a liquid, if the final solution is a liquid, then the gas becomes the solute and the liquid becomes the solvent. Once I have written this, I believe this would be easier to understand what is the definition written here. If the components mixing two form a solution are in different phases, they are different from each other, then the component which is initially in the same phase as the final solution, the component which is initially in the same phase as the final solution is considered the solvent. On the other hand, if it has been the final solution is the liquid, then in that case the liquid component becomes the solvent while the gaseous component becomes the solute. You can ask me your questions right in the YouTube in the chat box. I would be able to answer it. Is it clear? Okay. If the various liquids mix to form solution and one of them is water. Now remember, if multiple liquids mix and one of them is water, then by convention, water is considered a solvent even if it is in a minor quantity. You would have heard something like 98% sulfuric acid. Now 98% sulfuric acid is actually 2% water. So sulfuric acid is actually in the huge amount as compared to water. It is actually 49 times more than water. Still sulfuric acid is the solute and water is the solvent. In the same manner, I can have something like 95% ethanol, the rectified spirit. It is 95% ethanol and that would be containing just 5% of water. But we never say this particular solution has 5% water. We always say it is 95% ethanol. That is, we are taking ethanol to be the solute and water to be the solvent, although water is in a lesser amount. Piyush, Aarti, what exactly you are not able to understand? Is it the problem with the language or is it the problem with the concept? If it is the problem with the language, then I will be able to explain it in a slower way. If it is a problem with the concept, I will be able to explain it again. So just don't tell me समझ नहीं आ रहा. Tell me क्या समझ में नहीं आ रहा, and I'll be able to explain it. Okay? Okay, fine. The concept is the problem. So we are talking about the classification of the solute and the solvent. Okay? We are talking about vilayan. We are talking about vilayak and vilayat. Now we are going to talk about what is the classification, how we classify, distinguish between them. Initially I told you that the components, if they are in a different phase, that is, one is a solid, one is a liquid, one is a gas, one is a liquid, one is a liquid, one is another one is a solid, then whichever is the final state or the final phase of the solution, the component which is initially in the same phase is the solvent. That's what I told. Is it clear, Aarti? Aarti, is it now clear? Next, we found that if we are having liquids which are mixing with each other, then if one of them is water, then irrespective of the amount, means water is less, water is more, water is less than the other component, water is the solvent. If I mention something like 95% ethanol and I don't mention anything else, it is absolutely understood that the remaining part is water. So water is considered to be the solvent. Okay. Now that is what we have as the solvent, water being the solvent. Now let's have another thing. If the various components are in the same phase, the component which is in a huge excess, and huge excess means it has to be at least 5 times of any other component, okay, then it is considered the solvent. So if one component is 1, then the component which is a solvent should be 5, at least 5. It can be more than that, but not less than that. Okay. Now here I like to ask you a question. Okay. Now let's see the question. Question is composition of air is A, 78% nitrogen, B, 20.8% oxygen. Well, I am not exactly saying it. There could be some decimal problems. Clear? C, it is 0.9% argon, and D, it is 0.03% CO2. Okay. The simple question: which of these is the solvent? Quickly give me the answer in the YouTube chat boxes. Give me the answer. Pranav, we are just talking about how we to distinguish between solute and solvent. That's what exactly we are talking about. And we are talking about the definition of the solute and solvent. What is the meaning of solute and what is the meaning of the solvent? Aarti, I hope you can understand this particular question. Give me the answer of this question. Okay, what I do is I give you an option, E option also. So which one amongst these would be considered the solvent? Could you give me the answer? Now, it was a little tricky question. Just read the topic. The component which is at least 5 times of the next dominant component is what we call as the solvent. Two gamers, why I left? You need to ask them. They said that they are not gonna have me anymore. No, I was not thrown out. It's a mixture of E. Well, this is air. The answer is none of these. Air is a multi-component system. In air, we cannot consider nitrogen as a solvent because nitrogen is not in actual huge excess. It is just 4 times of oxygen. It is not actually 5 times of oxygen. So here, it is better not to consider any solute or a solvent. So it is not a compulsion that every solution is going to have a solute as well as a solvent. It is not a necessity. Is this clear? Like, subscribe, share and comment. Okay? You need to join NEET Elixir, Unacademy NEET Elixir Telegram channel. So go ahead and join it. Is this clear? Everyone absolutely clear? Any questions you need to ask? Like, okay. So that's what we have as the definition of the solute and solvent. But there are certain chapters in which we are talking about the different definition of the solute and the solvent. Like the chapter when we have the chemical kinetics, the chapter when we have the equilibrium. In these chapters, we consider the solute and solvent depending on which is in a huge excess. The solvent in these chapters by definition is a component which is in such a huge excess that a small change in its concentration will not lead to any change in the rate of reaction. So that is what we consider as a solvent. Is this clear? So definition of the solvent is going to depend on what is the purpose of defining the solvent. So with the chapter itself, the definition of the solute and solvent can change. Clear? So once somebody asks you which is the solvent, what is the solute, then you need to ask the person that what exactly is your purpose in asking that. Is this clear? So that is what we have as the solute and the solvent. Now once we have talked about the solute and the solvent, these are the different mixtures that we can have. Now this is the topic, this is the table which I have copied from NCERT book. And here, as you can very well see, type of solution, gaseous solution. If the solution is gaseous, then the solvent is the gas. Is this clear? If the solution is gaseous, then the solute is the other part. It is solvent is gas. Liquid solution, solvent is liquid. Solid solution, solvent is salt. Is this clear? So here we have gas-gas mixture, liquid gas, chloroform with nitrogen gas, solid gas, camphor and nitrogen gas. So here we have a solid as the solute and solvent as the gas. Most important thing for a gaseous solution, gas is the solvent. In the same manner, if we have the liquid solution, whether we mix a gas, whether we mix a liquid, whether we mix a solid, then liquid is the solvent. In the same manner, when we have the solid solution, that is final solution state is solid, then in that case it is solution of hydrogen and palladium, that is the catalysis, isn't it? This is sometimes termed as solution of hydrogen and palladium is termed as occlusion. This is what we term as occlusion. Clear? Liquid and solid, amalgamation of mercury with sodium, and solid with solid, all the alloys. These are alloys. So that is what we have as the classification of the solid and the solution. Any kind of confusions here? Once we have talked about the solutions, what are they? How do we classify the solutions? Now, solutions are characterized by their concentration, that is relative amount of the various components. Now, what kind of a relation we are going to see, that depends on the requirement that we have, what exactly we want to inform the others. So, we are going to get along with the different concentration units. Now, this part is extremely important. This is the part of your mole concept chapter as well. This is the part here as well. So, we are going to talk about. Milli Sarkar says solvent and solution nature always same. No. State, phase is the same. So, nature is too big a word to use here. Clear? So, solvent and solution nature always remains same. Milli Sarkar, you need to say solute and solvent phase is always same. Phase, not nature. Nature is too broad a term. It includes everything. So, we need to narrow it down. I can have, let's say, sodium chloride, and I can have water. I can dissolve sodium chloride in water. Then the water and the solution of sodium chloride in water is having a different characteristic. Like, let us say we have put hydrochloric acid in water. Water is considered neutral or amphoteric, and hydrochloric acid is acidic. So, which nature are we talking about? So, we need to be very specific that we are talking about the phase, that is, we are talking about the state. The solvent and the solution will have the same state. Is this clear, Millie? So, that is what is the important part. So, here we can talk about the various concentration of the solution. Let's talk about the concentration. The very first unit is what we call as percent by mass. So, here is the mass percent. The mass percent of the component of the solution is defined as the mass percent of the component is equal to mass of the component in the solution, or rather component, you want to say component or you want to say solute. Okay, the mass percent of a solute is the mass of the solute in the solution divided by total mass of the solution into 100. You need to know one thing needs to be clear. Same dimensions of numerator and denominator. So, you need to have the same dimension of the numerator and denominator, then only we are going to talk about this as the percent by mass. So, that would mean this is a dimensionless. And further, since we are talking about the mass is not affected by temperature. So, since it is not going to be affected by temperature, this is not affected by so this is not affected by temperature. Jyotiraditya Vara, whether I am consistent in an institute or not, I am consistent with you. Okay? What exactly do you have to do with where I am? I am. Okay? Understand. Now, so this is what we have as the dimension list. Let us have a question. Now, if a solution is described by 10% glucose in water by mass, it means that 10 gram of glucose is dissolved in 90 grams of water, resulting in a 100 gram solution. So, here the percent by mass would be 10 gram glucose upon 10 gram glucose plus 90 gram water, and that would mean 100 gram solution. Okay, multiplied by 100, gram and gram cancel out, and 100 and 100 get cancelled out, then this is 10% by mass. Is this clear? Thank you, Prerna. But I need the likes here. We have got only 34 likes. What exactly is happening? I believe you have not shared it with your friends. That is why we have only these many students in this particular session. Now, this session is going to be an excellent session. This is going to be a very informative session, and this is going to be a very concise session in which you will be able to understand everything that I am going to tell, and you will be able to do this entire chapter. Okay? Is it clear? Okay, then. Let's have a simple question. Calculate the mass of urea, NH2CO NH2, which has a molar mass of 60 gram per mole, required to prepare 100 grams of 5% urea solution by mass in water. Clear? We have the options. Give me the answer. Which of these? Or you want to have another option which could be called as none of these. Answer. Let me have the answer. Okay, I have got just one answer. Where are the other answers? Aditya, you don't need to give the answer multiple times. You can just give me the answer single time. I would be able to see it. Okay. Don't think. If in the examination, in the entrance examination, if you are just thinking it would be this, it would be that, then you will never be able to give me the actual answer. You will never mark the answer because you will just keep on thinking about it. Where are the other people? They have not given the answer. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people have given the answer. There are 17 people watching the session, and we have got only 6 answers. Where are the others? Where are the other answers? There isn't any poll, Traj. You can just give me the answer on the chat. Okay, let's calculate it. Calculate the mass of urea, that is mass of urea required to prepare 100 grams, the mass of solvent, solution. Hundred grams of 5% urea solution, 5% by mass into 100. So, what's the answer? What is the mass of urea? Mass of urea, gram goes out here. The answer was A. The answer was A. Why it was A? Because the mass of the urea would turn out to be only 5 grams. It is 5 is equal to m by 100 grams into 100. Here you did not require the molar mass of urea. To give the mass percent, we do not need the molar mass. Arman Ali, you don't know the answer? You got the answer. It's right here on the board. Okay. Now let's have the volume by volume percent. Volume by volume percent is the percentage, the volume of the solvent, solute divided by the volume of the solution. Please remember, we have the law of conservation of mass, but we don't have any law of conservation of volume. Okay? Just remember that. There is no law of conservation of volume. So, if you are given the volume of the solution, given the volume of the solute, and somebody asks you the volume of the solvent, you better say, I don't know. It's not a compulsion that 10 grams of the solute and 90 grams of water is 10 milliliter of the solute and 90 milliliter of water will give you 100 milliliter of solution. It could be 105 milliliter also, and it could be 95 milliliter also. So, there isn't anything called the law of conservation of volume. So, don't confuse with it. Is this clear? Okay. So, here as you can very well see in NCERT, 10% ethanol solution in water means that 10 milliliter of ethanol is dissolved in water such that the total volume of the solution is 100 milliliter. Please remember, the NCERT has not mentioned what is the volume of water, because they cannot. Is this clear? Another unit is what we call as mass by volume percent. Mass by volume percent, that is, numerator is in mass and denominator is in volume of the solution. So, that's what we need to understand, that the denominator is in the volume of the solution. So, here is the mass of the solute in the numerator in grams, and the volume of the solution is in milliliter. It could be in liter, it could be any of the units of volume, but most often it is in milliliter, and as we have the percent, we are going to have multiplied by 100. Any kind of doubts with it? It is weight by volume. And one thing we need to understand, in chemistry, mass is equal to weight. Just understand that. We do say atomic mass and we do say atomic weight. So, it is mass by volume percent, it could be weight by volume percent. So, just understand that, don't get confused. Here in chemistry, we do not talk about the conversion of the weight in newtons. No, we are taking the weight in gram, we are taking mass also in gram or kilograms. Any doubts? So, that's what we have as the mass of the solute and the solvent. So let's have a question. A medicine bottle is labeled 0.9 weight by volume percent ethanol. 0.9 weight by volume percent ethanol. Now molar mass of ethanol is given. I would like to make it very clear at this moment we do not actually need the volume or molar mass of ethanol. It is not required. Aditya said, why mass in gram and volume in milliliter? Why not kilogram and liters you are talking about? Fine enough, you can. Anyway, the dimensions are going to be decided by the dimensions that you take. Most often in chemistry, we are not dealing with such liters and milliliters and kiloliters. We are actually talking about milliliters. That is why in chemistry, we are using a practical unit, that is grams and milliliters, which we are supposed to encounter in our daily work. Is it clear, Aditya? So we are not here on an ego. Yes, we have to do it right. Again, chemistry is by convenience. And again, you have made it liter. It's not liter, it is liter. Okay, Aditya, I have given you the answer. Why we are talking about it? Because chemistry is all the science of convenience. We are not much bothered about what would be right, what would be wrong. And give me the answer. The question is right in front of you and you have not yet given me the answer. Just calculate it and give me the answer. Answer. The solution is quite simple. We have 0.9 as the weight by volume percent. And we have to guess the mass of ethanol divided by the volume of the solution, that is 50 milliliter multiplied by 100. Okay, so what exactly do we get? We get it as mass is equal to 0.9 multiplied by 50 divided by 100 grams. So this 50 goes off, this goes off, this is 2 and this is 0.9 by 2, that is equal to 0.45 grams. So the answer is C. Everybody has got the right answer? Dinesh Singh, I am everywhere. I don't need to be at a specific place, isn't it? Okay, but anyway, I am in Delhi at the moment. So the answer is 0.45 grams. Any confusions, anybody? Okay. Now here we have another concept that is called parts per million. See, parts per million again is a dimensionless quantity. Here we are again talking about the mass of the solute divided by the mass of the solution, and it is used when we have a very small quantity of the solute in the entire solution. So if we have an extremely small quantity of the solute in the solution, then we are using the parts per million. Sometimes we can even use parts per billion, but that's a rare phenomenon. Okay, so let us see the parts per million. Here the number of parts of the component divided by total number of parts of all the component of the solution into 10 raised to power 6. 10 raised to power 6 is actually million. And that's why it is parts per million. Please remember, when you talk about per cent, cent means 100. So per cent is per 100. So here we are, parts per million is per million. We can have 10 raised to power 6, we can have mass, we can have volume, we can have numbers, we can have parts per million in any of the components. Okay, we can have even in volume. Clear? Most often when we talk about the solubility of gases in liquids, we are talking about parts per million. When we are talking about the pollution, when we are talking about these things, we are talking about parts per million, because if it is more than that, it's going to be really problematic. That's what we have as parts per million, ppm. Now comes the very, very famous component, and the first where we are going to use the word mole. Mole fraction. Mole fraction is the moles of a component divided by the total moles in the system. So that is what we mean as the mole fraction. Has everybody liked? I am able to see only 40 likes at the moment. Where are the others? Like it, because that is going to give me the elixir. So Unacademy NEET Elixir, I am giving you the elixir here, and my elixir is your likes and your attendance. So like it quickly. So here we come on with the thing called the mole fraction. Mole fraction, the symbol is this, which is generally written as X. NCERT has understood it as X, but actually it is not X. It is chi or chi, whatever you wish to call it. In the case of mole fraction, it denotes the component. It is defined as mole fraction of a component is equal to number of moles of the component divided by total number of moles of all the components. That is what we know as the mole fraction. Okay. So if we have a binary mixture means two component system. Binary is two component. Clear? Okay. If the number of moles of A and B are Na and Nb respectively, I hope you are able to understand this very clearly. If any doubt, just ask me. I will explain it again and again and again till you understand, or till you understand that you cannot understand. I am going to explain it till that time. Okay. The mole fraction of A will be moles of A. Na is moles of A. This is moles of B. This is moles of A. This becomes total moles in solution. Is this okay? So that is what we have as the mole fraction. I hope you remember how to find the number of moles. Okay. Aditya, XA plus XB is equal to 1 for a binary system. You need to specify that. Otherwise, it's going to become wrong. If there are more than two components, then in that case, XA plus XB is not going to be equal to 1. The third component also is going to have some value. Okay. Now, in this binary system, for binary system of A and B, mole fraction of A plus mole fraction of B is equal to 1. Now, that is valid only for the binary system. It is not valid for any other system. Is this clear? So, Piyush, remember that finding out the number of moles is not necessarily mass by molar mass. It could be volume by molar volume also. It could be charge by molar charge also. It could be number by molar number also. So, it's not necessarily it has to be mass. It could be anything else as well. Clear? And this could be number of components. This is again total moles. Is this clear? Okay. The sum of all mole fractions in any system is always equal to 1. That is what you need to understand. Fine. So now let's have a simple question. Now, in this particular chapter that we are doing here, mole fraction would be the most important unit, and we need to know how to interchange mole fraction into molarity, molality and all. What exactly you want to repeat? Devil's soul. The sum of all mole fractions is equal to 1. Please. Calculate the mole fraction of benzene C6H6, which has a molar mass of 78 grams per mole, in a solution containing 78 grams of benzene and 184 grams of toluene, which has a molar mass of 92. Please give me the answer. In the next class, that is going to be tomorrow, we are going to talk about molarity, molality and the interconversions. So tomorrow's class, next day after tomorrow's class is going to be about the concentration units. Amit, you just need to give an answer once. If you give the answer more than once, it will be considered spam. See, let's solve it. Moles of benzene is equal to mass of benzene divided by molar mass. Now that would turn out to be 78 gram divided by 78 gram per mole. Okay, that's going to be 1. Okay, then we have moles of toluene, that is equal to mass of toluene, that is 184 grams, divided by molar mass of toluene, that is 92 grams per mole. I would really request you that you write the dimensions along with the quantities. That actually is a very good practice, and if you are able to write the dimensions, that is going to ensure that you don't make a silly mistake. Otherwise, you tend to make silly mistakes. What is the formula? Formula is the moles of a component, that is mole fraction of benzene is equal to, now it is coming out to be 2 moles. Moles of benzene divided by moles of benzene plus moles of toluene, that's equal to 1 divided by 1 plus 2 is equal to 1 by 3. Is this clear? Afaq Bangash, welcome beta. Have you liked it? Like, share, comment and compliment. So that's what we have as the answer. The answer is 1 by 3. Any kind of confusions, anybody? Calculate the mole fraction of each gas in a mixture containing equal masses of hydrogen, helium, methane and oxygen. Now what we are going to do is, we'll consider this to be the homework, the answer is not here in this particular question. So this will be considered as a homework and you have to give me the answer in the chat box. So this is the chapter called for NEET 2024-25 chemistry, the solution chapter. It is introduction to the chapter of solutions. So that was the introduction. We have done certain concentration unit. Tomorrow also, next time also we are going to do the concentration unit. We have the sessions at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. 3 p.m. session is for biology, that is taken by Dr. SACHIN KAPUR, and the 4 p.m. session is the chemistry session, that is being taken by me. Tomorrow we are going to have some basic concepts of chemistry. This is how you can join the Unacademy app. We are very soon going to start the special classes and the plus courses. So when we talk about the special classes and the plus courses, we have the Unacademy Learner app that you need to install. And to install that Learner app, sometimes you require the code. The code is AVLIVE. The AV Live code is what you are going to use to join the app. Just download it and join it. You have to ace your preparation with the NEET UG subscription. Okay. We have the iconic, we have the plus, and we have the centers. The centers are physical centers of Unacademy where you can go, you can interact with the teachers, and you can have the physical classes. Clear? So this is what we have as NEET UG subscription for the plus classes. Subscribe the Unacademy NEET Elixir Telegram channel, the YouTube channel, and that's what you are going to get, where the live best of the live classes. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Just give me your comments. Tell me how these classes can be made even better. Apart from one thing, sir, start teaching in English. No, I'm not going to teach in English. I'm going to teach in English because that is the requirement of the day. Is this clear? PDF tomorrow's or yesterday's, Piyush? Which session you want the PDF of? Thanks a lot. We are going to meet in the next class. Till then, bye-bye, take care, and good evening. Revise the session.